You guys, these Harry Potter scarves, okay? I think I may have to rip this out and do it for a fourth time. A fourth time. Look at this one compared to this one. Is there any doubt which is better? Welcome to Traveled and Unraveled. I'm Shannon and I want to inspire you to travel and create. If you are new here, this is where knitting projects, travel adventures, and everyday moments come together. So today we're just gonna yap, okay? I'm just gonna yap. I got a couple things to share, but you know, last time I talked about our power outage, it seems like, I guess this is just adulting. I should know this by 57 years of age, but there's just always something, right? There may or may not be something going on with my pool. Like I looked out the window today and it's like shooting air out of the return jets, which is not good. And I'm hoping that it's just because the water level in the pool has gone down a little bit, so I'm filling it with a little more water, but it doesn't seem like it's really low enough for that to be a problem, so I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm just, one thing about me is that I always expect the worst, and then I'm happy when things turn out okay, but anytime there's any little thing, I'm like, what's that noise? What's that? What's happening? Like, oh God, how much is this going to cost me? That's what I do, catastrophize. I think that's what they call it. But yeah, and yesterday I stubbed my toe like really hard. The whole top of my foot is turning purple. So that was fun. And, I just didn't really have it in me to do my makeup and hair and everything. So we're just, here we are. No makeup, wet hair, yapping by the pool. That's what we're doing today. So I will put in some footage. Last week I went on a girls trip with my two good friends, Lindsay and Phaedra. We went to Doylestown, Pennsylvania, which is a really nice little town. We just did like an overnight. We did some shopping. I went to a yarn store, of course. We toured a museum, had a lot of good food. It was a good time. So I'm going to put in a little bit about that. And let's update you on my progress with these Harry Potter scarves. Okay, I am making two Harry Potter scarves, one Hufflepuff and one Slytherin, for my daughter and her friend. Her friend's coming to Scotland with us, and we're doing some Harry Potter related things in Scotland, and I told them I would make these scarves for, basically for photo shoots, but also for fun. So I talked about the Hufflepuff one before. All right, I knit this and tore it out. Like, this is the third time, and I think I'm probably gonna, it's basically done, and I think I'm gonna rip it out again. People get like really shocked when I say these kind of things, like, oh, you spent all that time on it, but you know what? I also spent a lot of money on the yarn, and if I am not happy with the project, I'm sure as hell gonna rip it out, and I'm gonna make it right. This is an easy project. It's just in the round. It's very fast. So I'm not that upset about it. But when my daughter put this on, I didn't bind it off, okay? I did not bind it off yet. I had her like try it on, see what she thought. And she's like, it's really heavy. It's really thick. It's kind of itchy. I'm like, well, the itchy, tough shit, I can't do anything about that, okay? Maybe when I block it or wash it, it'll get a little softer, but sorry. But the size, like having it be so wide and thick around her neck, I can do something about that. Now, I knit this on a 16-inch needle in the round. So it was kind of stretching, okay? It wasn't a severe stretch, not enough for me to really worry about it, but then I cast on the Slytherin scarf using a magic loop, and you can see the difference, okay? Like, just look at the tightness. Look at the fabric of this versus the fabric of this, okay? Can you see these together? This looks messy as hell, all right? And this looks nice. Now, I'm also wondering if this is a little bit too thin, but I think it's going to be fine. So, because I did this on a circular needle and it was kind of stretching out, it just made it looser and messier. Same size needle, 8. This was actually 50 stitches cast on, but then my daughter said, oh, it's really big, so I did 44 on this. So it's not a huge difference. It shouldn't be this much, all right? It's all the method, okay? Doing this with the magic loop is keeping it nice and tight, and it looks just so much better. It looks so much better. So I really do think that I'm gonna just tear this whole thing out. Just gonna tear it out and start over. It's all right. That's the story about my Harry Potter scarves. And when we were in Doylestown, there's a store called Wizarding Ways and More. I think that's the name of it. If I'm wrong, I will write it. I will put it in. And I found patches. I found a Slytherin and a Hufflepuff patch that I'm going to put on. I am probably going to try, they're iron-on patches, which you don't really want to iron it on. But the thing is, here's my thought that I may try. Since this is a tube, okay, and you're not going to like see the back or have any problem with it, I might put the tube over the edge of my ironing board, put the patch on, and just steam it lightly. Okay, I'm not gonna iron it on, but I might steam it a little, so maybe the little stickiness will just start to tack it on, and then I'll sew it. That's my plan right now. Hopefully I won't ruin the yarn or anything. I've never done an iron on. So if you've done any kind of patch or anything on a knit, let me know what you think. So those are my works in progress. And this is my Cumulus tee, which is coming along nicely. Let me get it in a position where you can actually see. All right, I just split the sleeves. All right, so that's it. I'll just close up on the material there. It's very pretty. I'm very, very happy with it. And now that the raglan is done and the sleeves are split, it's just in the round and a tiny little sleeve. It's a very short sleeve. So this should go pretty quick, pretty quick. Those are my works in progress. I did buy some yarn at the yarn store in Doylestown. So, you know, like I said, I don't need any more yarn. I'm trying not to buy yarn, but when I visit a local yarn store, I like to support the small business. And the woman that owns the store, it's called Forever Yarn in Doylestown, and the woman that owns it was very, very helpful and pleasant. She had a 15% off sale for her store anniversary. So I found some gorgeous green mohair, and I'll show it another time because, you know, like I said, it's been a week. So I bought some really pretty green mohair, and I bought 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn to go with the sundial tee. Now in the last video, you saw me go through my stash. I was looking for some complementary colors of fingering weight yarn to do the sundial tee. And why am I sitting up like this? Like I'm like coming at you. All right, relax. The sundial tee, yes. So I decided that I liked the orange and the forest green and the brown together. So I just needed 2 more colors, and I wanted to go with like a fall vibe. And I was thinking like a yellow and a red. And when I went into Forever Yarn, I showed her the colors of the 3 colors that I was keeping, the orange, the green, and the brown. And she helped me pick out some colors, more muted colors, because she said with the orange being so bright, you don't want like a bright yellow or a bright red. I was thinking like fall foliage. I'm thinking fall leaves. That was the color scheme I had in mind for this tea that I want to make. And what she told me is that you kind of only want to have one bright color, and the other ones you want to kind of flow together and use the bright color sparingly. So that was really helpful. So we picked out like a very light lemony yellow and like a grayish beige. You know, I'll have to show you another time. But those were my acquisitions. Pretty excited about that sundial tea. I'm anxious to cast that on, but I just applied for a test knit. Now, I had also said in a previous video that I wasn't going to do test knitting anymore. However, there's a beautiful tea coming out by Knitting for Breakfast, and I did their magnolia tea a month or two ago. Really loved it. This new one looks beautiful. It's got some flowers, like it's a colorwork motif with flowers and mohair, and just looks super pretty. And it's a tea, so I can do it quickly. And I actually have some yarn in my stash that I can most likely use for it. So it kind of like everything came together, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll apply for this test knit. I also like to do a test knit because for work at my local yarn store, when a pattern comes out, it's nice to have your project already done. Like I can show that tea and be like, hey, this pattern just came out today, and you know, people in the knitting community might be talking about it. So then the owner of the yarn store, she puts together great kits. She'll put together some kits and we'll show the finished object, and that equates to sales. That's a good thing, you know. So I will occasionally do a test knit if it's a designer that I've already knit and I know I like, and it's something that maybe I have in stash, or, you know, like I said, everything aligns and it works out. So that's that. What else? I don't know. I think I've addressed everything. This is just going to be a short video, just a little yap, catching up, you know, trying to stay consistent and get a video out every week. And now I will give you a little taste of what we did in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. That is all the knitting and traveling I have for you this week. Let me know, leave me a comment, and let me know what you think about the Harry Potter scarves, magic loop or the circular needle. All right, Slytherin or Hufflepuff? Give me your vote. I mean, I don't even think there's a question here, but however, leave me a comment, give me a like, subscribe, and I will see you next week.